So welcome to Supporting Sleep Naturally. So we are going to be walking you through some basic sleep tips today and using natural products to be able to get you better sleep. So a little bit about who I am. So if you don't know me, I'm Sabrina Smart. I am neurodiverse. I was diagnosed finally last November with ADHD, and I have been a paramedic for the last 19 years. I left my frontline job in September also because I'm caring for my two neurodiverse teenagers. I've been using doTERRA for about 7, nearly 8 years now. I found essential oils when I was having a mental health breakdown myself. So I was really struggling. My eldest, who's now 16, was diagnosed with ADHD and autism about the age of 7. And I just was having the hardest time. I didn't know about my own neurodiversity. That's come after learning a lot about my children. And we just joined every group you can imagine. And I had some lovely local support groups that we're still part of. And I also joined a Facebook group called Essential Oils for ADHD and Autism. That's where I started to learn about essential oils. I went and bought some essential oils online. They did very little. I'm very science-based and I like things to show that it works. So I went back to this group and I carried on doing research, and that's where I found doTERRA. So I very quickly started to get relief with my own mental health, and I also found help with sleep. And what I've done now over those years is really develop and get deeper into neurodiversity. So if you have neurodiverse families, we are going to be covering sleep today, but if you are interested in that side of it, we have extra classes that we can walk you through all of those as well. One of the biggest things I found at the moment is I want to support women like me who are perimenopausal, potentially neurodiverse themselves, struggling with health issues. So you might have come on here tonight after the fibromyalgia classes as well. And we just want to really start putting the support so that you guys support yourselves first, because we're not in a position to look after anybody else if we're not looking after ourselves. So before we really deep dive into sleep, we're going to cover a few basics over the essential oils and how to use them so that when we go into the sleep, hopefully if you have a sample pack, have it with you. If you haven't got a sample pack yet, please don't worry. That is something that we can sort out afterwards. And before we go in, have a little think about where you are at right now in your life or your families. What is it that comes up the most for you? Is it, when it comes down to your health, is it that you're struggling to fall asleep? You're feeling exhausted? You're waking up at 3 a.m. in the morning? Maybe it's that you have low energy, brain fog, digestive issues, pain, hormonal, perimenopause, frequent illnesses. What is it that you're dealing with at home for yourself and your family? But what you will notice as well, that for most of us, these things don't happen in isolation. So I would love to say that all of us sit here and say, oh, it's just that one thing. But one thing quickly affects everything else. And this is the reason we're going to talk about sleep, because poor sleep affects your energy, energy affects your mood affects your stress levels, and stress feeds straight back into your sleep. And before you know it, you're completely stuck in a cycle of feeling wired but tired. And I just want you to think about as well what impact that's having on you. So your energy, your focus, your relationships, your ability to cope with everyday life. And when your body isn't getting the rest it needs, it does affect everything else. So we're also going to think about how you're currently managing those health challenges. So when those things come up, maybe it's digestion or brain fog or sleep issues, what's happening? Are you just forcing yourself to push through the next day? Are you trying to tell yourself just to keep going and hoping that it's going to get better and you're hitting burnout? Do you find yourself relying on those quick fixes, like things like caffeine to get through the day, sugar for a quick boost, scrolling on your phone to try and switch off? For a lot of people, that itself is becoming completely exhausting, because again, it's rarely one thing and it all starts to build up. You might have tried looking at some natural solutions before and gone and got sleep tips or bought over-the-counter aids or gone into the rabbit warren of online and then felt completely overwhelmed. Way too much information out there, too many options, and too many things telling you what you should be doing. And instead of them feeling clearer, you end up feeling even more confused and don't even know where to start. That is what I'm here for, because we are able to give you some simple solutions, and hopefully we're going to keep it in a way that's really simple to put into a toolkit for yourselves at home. We also want to think about the difference of reactive healthcare approach and a proactive healthcare approach, especially when it comes down to our sleep. Most of us don't really think about this. So in modern life, we generally just respond when there's a problem. So we can't sleep, we take something, we feel exhausted, have some caffeine, or we're reaching for something else. Feeling overwhelmed, we just try to push through. You might go to the chemist or the doctors when an illness comes up. But what we actually want you to start thinking about is a proactive healthcare. So not addressing things as they come. We want to actually get to the root causes, because again, sleep itself doesn't work in isolation. It's not just about what's happening when your head hits the pillow. It's the stress that you've carried throughout the day, the stimulation in your brain, your hormones, your nervous system. Everything is connected. And what we do when the body feels constantly switched on, or we're stuck in that wired but tired state, it can really start to feel like we're having a cascade of lots of other problems as well. So rather than supporting your body, once something happens, we want to start thinking about natural support that's going to build a foundation, and we can be proactive about that. We've talked about supportive matters and how we're going to get there, but we want to also then just have a little look at how essential oils actually work inside of our bodies. So they are the plant's natural defense system. They're highly concentrated plant compounds that are used to protect the plant. They repair the damage in the plant, and they keep them balanced in their environment. And we're able to extract those compounds from different parts of the plant. Some might be flowers like lavender, some are herbs like your peppermints, and others come from tree bark, citrus peel, roots, spices, or resins. It comes from all different parts of your plant. Each part of that plant contains different natural compounds, which is why different oils support the body in different ways. One of the most important reasons essential oils can be so effective is because of their very, very tiny molecular structure. And this allows them to be absorbed quickly by the body. So they're not just about scent. They contain hundreds of natural compounds that interact with different systems throughout the body. So rather than just targeting one symptom, they work more holistically, supporting the whole system at once, which is exactly what we need when it comes down to sleep. We want our body to feel calmer. Something really important to understand about essential oils is they're not all created equally. So this really matters because, especially when we're talking about things for a medical reason, so something for sleep or fibromyalgia, or we're trying to target something, it's the space where quality isn't just a nice to have. It does directly affect how well something works and how your body is going to respond to it. The essential oil industry is actually unregulated, which means a bottle can say 100% pure on it, and it might only have 1% pure oil inside that bottle. It could be a full fragrance itself. And that is a big problem when you're looking for natural solutions and you want to find something that's going to work. Some oils can be diluted with cheaper oils or carrier oils. They might even be extracted using chemical solvents. Some come from plants grown with pesticides, and others are just synthetic fragrances that are actually been made to smell nice inside a lab. And some are completely the wrong plant inside a bottle as well. I went to a shop in Brussels last year, an essential oil shop. And in there was blueberry essential oil, cherry essential oil, strawberry essential oil. I can tell you now, those fruits do not produce an essential oil. The only fruits that are possible to get an essential oil out of are citrus fruits, the fruits where they will go through a machine and they get cold pressed with water and it's forced out of the rind. It comes out of the rind. So you will not get a pure essential oil from a blueberry, because if that was cold pressed to get an essential oil out, it would just make a lot of mess in a machine. So, but these places are able to do that, and they're able to label it as an essential oil. The good thing is for doTERRA, and the only reason that I partner with doTERRA is because it is science-based and we can trust what is in our oil. So on every single bottle, on the bottom is a batch number, and you can put that batch number into Source to You, and it will bring up all of the testing that that oil has been under. So it's looking for the natural chemical composition of the oil. So if you are science-based and you're looking for a certain type of chemical composition inside your body, like we're going to talk about copaiba shortly, and that's got beta-caryophyllene in, you can look for those different constituents of what type of oil you're after. It will also tell you whether there's anything present that shouldn't be in there. And it also will show you any synthetics that have been added. So the fantastic thing with us is we show you all of that data. It's there for you. Certification called CPTG, which is Certified Pure Tested Grade. So we do have a certification on our oils that no other oils have. Also think about the sourcing. So with doTERRA, we don't just go and grow lavender, for example, in the UK. We go to the plants that are sourced around the world where they naturally grow best, because plants like us thrive in the right environment. So the right soil, the right climate, and the right conditions. And when they grow in those natural conditions, they develop a much more complete chemical profile. So what doTERRA do is they find the best country and the best chemical profile for that plant, and then they work with the growers already in those countries, and they put funding in and they support loads of fantastic things behind the bottle, which is really interesting. And if you like to see all of that, again, it's very open and transparent for you. What the other fantastic thing about with doTERRA is they allow us advocates to go and see that for ourselves as well. So I've been really lucky, and in the last couple of years, I've been out to Sicily, where I have seen green mandarin, bergamot, and the lemon from the fields through the distillery. I've also been to Bulgaria, and I've seen lavender, frankincense, and melissa. Again, been in the lavender fields and had some fantastic photos, and we had a great time lying down in lavender. And then I've also been to Cork, which is where our production plant is. And then you see the oil come into Cork, you see all the testing that happens, and we see it go into the bottles. And again, no other company is going to do that for you. So it is really important to understand where our oils are coming from and why doTERRA is so special. While we're talking about that, another question obviously is, are oils cost effective? And I can understand that, because when you look at natural tools, especially at the beginning, you can really focus on the price of a bottle of oil. But what's more important is that bigger picture, and that's the cost of not having the right support in the first place. Because when your sleep is off, for example, the impact doesn't just show up at night. It shows up in your whole day. It might show up in other ways as well. It might be not having enough energy. It might be having to cancel plans. It might be that a physical impact. It might be that family members are constantly getting unwell and you're having to have time off work. And you have to think about that cost on your personal health and on your family. And then you can look at the price per drop. So when you have your sample pack, you've got little vials. In those, there's about 10 drops of oil we've put roughly in there and put fractionated coconut oil with it. In a big bottle of oil, you get 250 drops. And in the 5ml bottles, you get 85 drops. So we use very little, and I'll walk you through that in a second of how to use them. We use very little at a time. So when you're using oils for sleep, it's probably going to cost you less than 20p. When you're using oils for digestion, it might cost you 13 pence. So what you have to think about of as a toolkit for the family, we want you to start thinking about a different way of how you are supporting yourself for all different ailments. There are 3 main ways to use the oils. Today, we're mostly going to be using the first 2. And the first one is aromatically. And what that means is to simply breathe in, breathe through the nose, hit the olfactory system here, and it goes into the limbic system in the brain. Your limbic system then controls everything from your emotions through to your blood pressure. So we are able to breathe and change, and we will be doing that together shortly. So a few ways you can do that is straight from the bottle, pop it onto your hands and take in some deep breaths. You can breathe in from the bottle. You can also have a diffuser. Water-driven diffusers are best. Also have a nasal inhaler. There is many ways that you can breathe in the oils. The second way is topically. Topically means putting onto your skin. So when we put a drop of oil on our skin, if I was going to put my oil on and just put it neat, only 10% is going to go into my skin. 90% is going to evaporate. If you then mix that oil with a carrier oil, so I use fractionated coconut oil, 30% will carry. So it's going to take it further. It doesn't dilute, it doesn't give you less potency. It just takes it further to more cells because we're working at a cellular level. It will take it further, and then 30% will go in and we'll lose 70%. If you then put it on an area of the body that we can then cover, so on your back, bottoms of your feet, or anywhere where we can then put clothes over the top, if we can trap it in, 90% will then absorb. So really good place to remember to using your oils are obviously under your clothes, so on your back or the bottoms of your feet, because that is really going to get us the most amount of that oil without any loss. There is certain oils that we would be careful of anyway, neat. So things like oregano is a very hot oil. It's a natural antibiotic. It's fantastic when we're not very well. But if you use it neat, you would probably only use it for warts or verrucas because it will leave your skin very sore. So you can use it to burn off warts and verrucas, but we wouldn't want to be using it neat all the time. So that is another, but again, we're here to support you with that. And the third way is internally. So those of you that have got sample packs, you will have some Copaiba soft gels that we're going to talk about soon. These are pre-made for you. You can pop oils underneath the buckle. Underneath here, you can pop oils into water, and you can also pop them into a veggie cap. Again, certain oils we would just be a little bit careful of, like oregano. We don't want neat in our mouth. We would put it into a capsule to be able to swallow it. But again, I work with you on those. So only doTERRA essential oils can be taken internally. Please do not listen to this and go and buy orange from somewhere else and put it in your food. I quite regularly teach how to put oils in chocolate, how to put oils in different food. And that's also something obviously we can talk about. But just please don't go and buy other oils because they are not safe to be taken internally. One of the reasons that essential oils are so helpful and why it works so fast is because it only takes 22 seconds to reach our brain, which is why scent can shift how we feel so quickly. So within 2 minutes, they're absorbed into our bloodstream and they're getting around our body. And within 20 minutes, they've reached every single cell in our body. So the lovely thing about oils is reapplying or reusing throughout the day. We have a much shorter window than you ever do with medicine. So with medicine, if you're doing it for pain, you've got to wait 4 to 6 hours before you can take something again. With oils, you don't. You can just keep reapplying throughout the day. It takes 20 minutes to get everywhere you need it to go. So that is our basics. We've covered, again, I'm happily talk to you on more basics as you go forward in your journey. But that is just a little bit to get you through today of what we're doing here and what we're talking about. So we're going to go straight in now into our sleep. And most of us don't just need more time in bed. We actually need better quality rest. So what I was mentioning about at the moment, I'm not getting hours and hours of sleep. It's not possible in my home life right now. But I know that the hours that I do get are the best restorative sleep, which is what matters. But poor sleep obviously affects more than just feeling tired. It's illness, stress, and even pain. And this is why I want you to look beyond that normal advice of just get 8 hours. Because so many of us, especially if you're dealing with things like stress, neurodiversity, fibromyalgia, hormone changes, or a very constantly busy mind, sleep is not just a bedtime issue. It's a whole body issue. And this is the big shift I really want you to take from today. And that is sleep is often not one problem. Sleep is the symptom. It's the signal that something underneath is out of balance. And that usually means the nervous system is still switched on. So instead of feeling safe enough to rest, your body stays in high alert. Cortisol stays too high, and your body then struggles to fully let go. Once we're understanding why we're stuck on, we can then actually look at how to support the body to turn that on to a lower dial. Your body is designed to sleep. It wants to sleep. But if your nervous system doesn't feel safe, it's not going to let you sleep. And this is where people get really stuck because it doesn't just show up once they get into bed. The pattern you might be feeling during the day is constantly on edge, struggling to relax, overthinking, feeling really easily overwhelmed or overstimulated, and the body starting to feel tense, tight, or wired. That feeling of fully never switching off. And then that comes and we expect the body to suddenly rest and sleep. But it can't because it's still on. So this is what we call wired but tired. And that links back to what we've talked about in our recent sessions about fibromyalgia and pain. We've talked about the body being stuck on high alert. And in my Regulate First neurodiversity classes, we've also been looking at how we calm the body first before it can heal. So if you are wanting pain or the neurodiversity ones, do reach out to us again, and we have those classes for you. But sleep is the same. Your body is stuck in that on mode, that fight or flight state, and it always is going to choose survival over rest. Even if you're exhausted, even if you want to sleep, even if your eyes are closing, your body is still scanning, still alert, and it's still switched on. So again, it's not about forcing sleep. It's about healing your body, helping it to feel safe enough to allow sleep to happen. Because once your body's feeling safe, sleep stops being that battle. So why does it happen? And this is really important to understand, because it's not usually one big thing. It's lots of little things that are building up over time. So it could be stress and trauma that's keeping your nervous system on high alert. It could be one stressful thing that happened a long time ago. It can be hormones, perimenopause, even our temperature affecting us being able to switch off. It could be blood sugar dips during the night that are then triggering a stress response. It could be pain, especially if you're dealing with fibromyalgia that's keeping your body on guard. And it's very hard to fully relax if your body is uncomfortable. And then, of course, overstimulation. So we have phones, noise, constant input, our busy lives. I know I'm the worst for being on TikTok or scrolling before going to bed. And something a lot of people don't realize as well is your gut plays a really big role as well. And that is because many of your actual sleep chemicals related to your nervous system are formulated in your gut. So when you look at all of it together, it starts to make sense. Why your body feels stuck, why sleep feels like a struggle, and why your body is doing everything it can to cope. When you fall asleep, your body doesn't actually shut down. It actually switches on. So sleep is when your body goes into that full maintenance mode. So your brain literally is clearing out the waste, and it's like an overnight rinse cycle. So your memories are stored, emotions are processed, and your nervous system resets. Your hormones rebalance and your body repairs. Your immune system, really important, and that starts strengthening. And you have to remember that sleep isn't passive. It's when your body is doing that most important healing work. So it isn't just rest, but it is biochemistry in action. So every emotion, thought, and sleep cycle is guided by a few key messengers. And these are called neurotransmitters and hormones. So when these chemicals are in balance, we fall asleep easily, we stay asleep, and we feel refreshed in the morning. But when they're out of balance, that's when we're going to get racing thoughts, waking up at 3 a.m. and having those really restless nights. We'll have a look at those neurotransmitters individually. So first we have cortisol. And this isn't bad. People think that cortisol is a bad thing, but we actually do need cortisol. In the morning, our cortisol levels should rise. And that what wakes us up. It gives you the energy and it gets you going. Across the day, cortisol should gradually come down. And at night, it should be really low. But if your body is stressed, your cortisol levels are staying high in the evening. Then we have our dopamine. And dopamine is your motivation. It's your reward chemical. And it's known as that go chemical. And it keeps you feeling alert, motivated, and driven during the day, but also needs to have a natural rhythm too. So it should be higher in the morning and lower by the evening. The challenge we have is we overstimulate dopamine constantly through screens, notifications, caffeine, stress. We're always going for that little dopamine hit before going to bed. We might be scrolling on social media. We might be shopping online, looking for that little dopamine hit and seeking more stimulation. So by the time we want to go to sleep, the brain is still in go mode and it's craving more input instead of settling down. And when dopamine stays elevated, it then blocks that natural drop in cortisol. It delays the melatonin and your brain literally forgets how to switch off. Then we have the serotonin. So this is our daytime stabilizer. Okay, it keeps our mood balanced. It helps us feel calm and content, and it supports our focus. But what you might not realize is serotonin is also the building block for melatonin, which is our sleep hormone. So at night, under our dim lights and darkness, our brain converts the serotonin that we have in our body into melatonin through a process that is by your internal clock called the circadian rhythm. And the catch is 90% of serotonin is actually made in our gut, not our brain. So this means your digestive health, so what you're eating, how much daylight you're getting outside as well, those type of things can influence how much melatonin is made. And if your gut is sluggish or inflamed, our serotonin levels drop, which then means there's less raw material for melatonin, which leads to a poor quality sleep or difficulty falling asleep. And then we have GABA, and this is your body's natural calming chemical. So think of it as the brake pedal. Okay, so GABA naturally should rise. The nervous system then slows down, muscles relax, and then your thoughts start to become quiet. Healthy GABA helps to shift your sympathetic nervous system into the parasympathetic. So your fight or flight into rest and digest. And then that allows you to sleep. And GABA is often behind those nights where you're physically tired, but you're mentally buzzing. And that's because your body can't quite cross the bridge into full relaxation. Chronic stress, overstimulation, or nutrient deficiencies can all deplete GABA over time. And when all of these systems are out of sync from stress, not getting enough light exposure, our gut imbalance, or irregular routines, your brain gets really confused and doesn't know what time it is. Take this one step further. And that's just because it's not just theory. It's what it actually looks like for real symptoms for you when this is out of sync. So one poor night can raise your cortisol level up to 48 hours, which then means your sleep is then bad again. And think of this cycle. It also reduces your immune system by 30%, which means you have more chance of getting unwell. It's not about just feeling tired. It is affecting your whole body. And it's not one issue. So it is a cycle. Stress affects your sleep. Poor sleep increases your stress. Your body produces more cortisol. You feel more on edge, more reactive, more overwhelmed. Increases your stress, makes your pain worse. Your muscles stay tight. Inflammation raises. Your body never fully relaxes. Pain itself stops you from sleeping. Then you go to bed exhausted, but your body still can't switch off. And the next day, you wake up tired, low energy, reaching for sugar, anything to just get through. So this then puts more pressure on your system, and we go round and round and round. And this is why we hit burnout and why we find it so hard to break out of, because it's not just your willpower, but your body is completely stuck in this loop. So we'll bring it back to you and think about when cortisol is high, how is this going to show up in your body? So you might notice tight shoulders, jaw clenching, headaches, or just that constant feeling of holding inside your body. It can affect your weight, your cravings, especially starting to crave sugar or caffeine, because your body is constantly looking for quick energy. Impacting your hormones. So this is where we see things like emotional fatigue, PMS symptoms worsening, perimenopause symptoms feeling more intense. Affects your gut. So you might feel bloating, IBS symptoms, food sensitivities that are getting worse. And then your immune system. So you might find yourself getting ill more often, or taking longer to recover, or just feeling really run down all the time. And then the big one with cortisol is the inflammation inside the body. So if you're dealing with a pain condition, this is going to make your pain more intense, more widespread, and it's harder to settle. So when we say stress, we're not just talking about how you feel mentally. We're talking about that full body response and how it affects everything. With serotonin low, this is where our mood comes in. So then you feel flat, anxious, overwhelmed. We're not getting enough daylight because then we don't want to leave the house. I know I struggle. I'm a very people person, but I don't like people. Some days I get way too overwhelmed and I can't even leave my house. Then you're not even stepping outside. You're not getting enough daylight. You're not producing enough melatonin. But again, it's not just random, and it's not just bad sleep. It's your body trying to function with systems that are out of balance. But the good news is, of course, we do have some solutions for you that are going to impact these neurotransmitters. So how do we fix this? Because we're not going to force sleep, but we are going to create conditions that are going to be suitable for sleep. We want the body to feel safe, calm, and supported. We want you to think of it like a seesaw. On one side, you have your cortisol, and the other side, you have your melatonin. So in the morning, your cortisol should rise to get going, and at night, your cortisol should lower and your melatonin should rise. So if we want better sleep, we can't just focus on the evening. We have to start in the morning. And then one of the most powerful things we can do there is giving your body the right signals early in the day. So the first thing is light. So natural daylight hitting your eyes in the morning, telling your brain that daylight to help regulate that circadian rhythm. So get outside, stand outside for 5 minutes, let the natural light come in, open your curtains earlier. We want to be able to support serotonin to be able to have melatonin later. The second way is deep breathing. So this signals safety to your nervous system. Sorry. It tells your body that you're not in danger, that we can come out of a stress response. And third, we can add in essential oils to help us at that moment while we're doing deep breathing. So if you have your samples, if you grab your wild orange, so you should, in your sample bottles, if you have them and they are tap bottles, they will have a little hole in. They have a little hole like this. Some bottles might not have a hole, and that is just because of the type of bottles that we have at the moment. And if so, you just need to take the plastic cap off and then you can just tap it like you can roll some on your hand. These have to be tapped to get the oil to come out. So tap some on your hands. If you have the neat oil and you have your own and you're here and you've got your own oils, wild orange is perfectly safe to use. Just pop a drop on your hands, okay? It will come out fast, so you'll probably end up with 2. Rub your hands together. Take a nice deep breath. Mind your eyes. Just take some deep breaths for me. Now, you guys can keep doing that. For me, obviously, I'm just going to do it once or twice. Once you've finished doing some deep breaths, do pop it around the back of your neck, though, because we don't want to waste any drops. A little bit of oil safety while we're using oils and we've got them on our hands. And then if you're touching like your eyes or somewhere like that, if you do end up with oil somewhere and it's stinging or you don't want it in that place, do not add water. Water exacerbates and it actually forces the oil in even further. Oil and water don't mix, so it just pushes it in. So you need to use a carrier oil, so coconut oil, or you can use olive oil or even a cream, and we wipe it away using like tissue or cotton wool or a cloth. Just use it that way. Water will make it worse. Water's fantastic if we want to make the oils even stronger. So I quite regularly recommend people in pain to put their oils on and then have a bath, because it actually forces them in. But in this instance, you might not want that to happen. So what we're going to be doing here is we're giving that brain that signal through the limbic system. Affects your emotions, your memory, and your nervous system. Wild orange is really powerful for uplifting. It supports the serotonin and it helps to shift low mood and morning sluggishness. So if we're gently encouraging the body in the morning to go into more of a awake state, it's going to help lower your cortisol levels. So instead of reaching for caffeine as soon as you get out of bed, have a bottle of wild orange next to your bed instead. Open your curtains, stand, have some sunlight. These things are naturally going to help those neurotransmitters get back into balance. So while we're talking about that, throughout the day, we need to be sending signals to our body that we are safe, because sleep doesn't start when our head hits the pillow. Our nervous system needs to know that I am safe. I do not need to stay alerted. And if your body stays in alert mode, it's not just suddenly going to switch off later. So we want to be doing this throughout the day. And one of the fantastic oils to use for that is Balance. Balance balances our homeostasis. It brings everything back into balance. So again, you have your tap bottle. If not, you have the pure, again, you can use a pure oil. This one's fine to do so. Pop a drop on your hands, or give it a tap. I love orange and Balance together, so it's a fantastic combination that you've now got on your hands. And take some deep breaths of Balance. Balance is my utter go-to. If you know my neurodiversity classes, it's huge in our house for regulating the nervous system. With the Balance this time, though, I want you to pop that up and down your spine once you're done. Okay, so we want to get it, or if you can reach your feet, pop it onto your feet. Even add extra to your hand and just get this on your body while I'm talking. It is really grounding. It brings you out of that constant on state and it moves you into a more steady, regulated state. From a chemistry point of view, it actually helps to lower your cortisol. It helps to support serotonin. It gently increases the GABA activity, which is going to help the body slow down. And it does reduce the overstimulation of dopamine. So it's an absolute fantastic one to balance those neurotransmitters. So instead of feeling alert and reactive all the time, it's going to help you feel steady and safe. If your brain is constantly busy or you're feeling overwhelmed, thinking, planning, can't switch off, the other one, a fantastic one, is adaptive. Now, you haven't got this in the sleep sample pots, but you might have this already if you've done any of the other classes. It is fantastic for helping you to adapt different situations, but it supports the nervous system's ability to cope with stress. It's our mental health blend, but it helps to bring everything else back into calm. And it's from a neurotransmitter point of view, it's fantastic with the GABA, that calming brake pedal, and it helps reduce that mental overactive, and it's keeping the cortisol lower. So instead of feeling on, you can move forward. So adapting situations. The next thing that you guys have got is some Copaiba soft gels. So they look, yeah, we've given you some of those. And Copaiba, this is the Copaiba oil in a capsule form. So it's about 3 drops of the oil, has a bit carrier oil in there to make it a solid capsule, and it's ready to swallow. So Copaiba works on something called the endocannabinoid system. This is the system that the body helps to regulate pain, inflammation, and support the nervous system. You might have heard of it in relation to cannabis. So cannabis interacts with the same system inside the body. The important difference is inside the body, we have 2 types of receptors, CB1 and CB2. CB1 is found mainly in the brain and the nervous system and the brainstem. And it also gives cannabis its psychoactive effect. So it's that high feeling. CB2 are found in the immune system and the inflammation cells. So Copaiba only works on CB2. Cannabis works on CB1 and CB2, which means it helps to calm the body without giving a high effect. And this is really important for sleep because inflammation, pain, keeping cortisol high, all of these things are keeping our body in a high state of alert. So if we reduce the inflammation, we're actually lowering cortisol, supporting serotonin, reducing pain, and it allows the nervous system to come out of defense. And the calming pathway that we talked about with GABA, this can actually start to switch on properly. So instead of your body reacting, it starts to feel calmer, less sensitive, and less on edge. So I like to use Copaiba in the morning for my anxiety, and it helps me with my mood, and it calms down my receptors in the daytime. I also then use it at bedtime. We'll be covering that one shortly. So I take 2 at bedtime, and then you can take them throughout the day as needed. And also, if you are one of our pain sufferers, they're fantastic as well to be using throughout the day for pain. We're not just telling our body to go to sleep. We're going to show it that it's safe to do so. So we want safety to know that our melatonin can rise nicely at bedtime. And one of the biggest ways to do that is through repetition. The brain loves predictability. So when you do the same things every day, your body starts to recognize the pattern, which means sleep isn't a surprise anymore and it becomes expected. So when you repeat those calming cues, the cortisol starts to lower earlier, serotonin begins shifting into melatonin earlier, and our dopamine starts to settle. So your nervous system can move into that rest and digest. So instead of fighting sleep, your body is actually preparing for it. Now, again, the challenge we have is screens, lights, noise, constant input. So we have to make sure that once we are calm and rested, our body knows, okay, that's time. It's time to have a sleep now. Thinking about blue light, it does have a problem. It does suppress our neurotransmitters. So if you can, try to avoid scrolling or change the settings on your phone, or try to listen to a podcast instead, or do something else if you can, which is hard for us to do. Also, before I jump into lavender, lavender is a fantastic calming oil. It's known for its sleep properties. Just want to mention ADHD at this point. So with ADHD, so we have a low tolerance for linalool, which is a calming constituent, which is the main constituent made from lavender. Magnolia is even higher. So we have a low tolerance for it. So you might find that you're using lavender and it's working, and then all of a sudden it stops working because our body hits tolerance. Or you might find you can't use it at all, that it makes you quite agitated and doesn't make you feel calm. And that is because it swaps our sensory profile, similar to caffeine. I can't have caffeine. I can have a bit, but too much caffeine makes me feel really tired and really sluggish. So just bear that in mind if you're using lavender on yourself who are neurodiverse or children. It doesn't mean you can't use lavender. It just means you might want to use it in a different capacity with other oils, so that those constituents aren't affected quite so much. So just bear that in mind. But lavender is extremely calming. It's one of the well-known ones for sleep and for calming the nervous system. But if you can't use the lavender, or you would like to use something different, I've also given you Serenity. So Serenity is a blend of oils. It contains lavender, but it contains lots of other constituents as well. And what they're used then is for balance and calming. So these ones are fantastic. Work on those neurotransmitters for calming yourself for bed. If you'd like to, we can do the same again. Pick one or both, and you can pop those onto your hands so you can have a little smell. We'll do it together. And I'm just going to use that one. And we're going to take some deep breaths. If you use Serenity or lavender during the day, it doesn't mean that it's going to make you tired. It's going to have the calming effect on your nervous system. So you can still use this in the daytime as well. So like breathing it in now, because this is a daytime class, isn't going to affect us. But once you've used it, make sure use that oil, get it over your body somewhere, wherever you feel comfortable. I use it on my forearms a lot at bedtime because I'm a side sleeper. So I make sure I have plenty of oils all over my arms. And for that, another really good way is to look at the Serenity stick. So the Serenity stick has less mess, it's not oily, and it has no residue. So this is the one my son absolutely loves and has on his bedside table, and both my boys do, and so do I. We have one everywhere. But what the Serenity can do in the stick or the oil version is it helps to lower the cortisol. So physically, everything in your body starts to slow down. So your heart rate begins to slow, your breathing slows down, and your muscles start to settle. And that's what you want to happen coming into bedtime. At the same time, it is supporting the brain chemistry. So it's supporting your serotonin, which allows you to start winding down because it's moving it into your melatonin. And it also lowers cortisol. Another good place to use is behind your ears, the back of your neck, and the bottoms of your feet. So nice, simple ways to be using. You can also pop them into Epsom salts and pop them into the bath. You can have it as a massage. Think about what you're doing in those evenings. You might want to lower the lights a bit earlier. If I'm struggling, I'll listen to a podcast and I'll do some painting in the earlier evening, and I'll put Serenity in a diffuser and I'll put my Serenity stick on, because I'm telling my brain that this is where I want to be going. I want to be calming, sending small little signals repeated every single day to my body to tell my body that it's time for bed. Another way you can use the oils is in rollers. So these rollers, you can take the top and roll them onto your skin, or you can make them into spray bottles. Okay, and then you can spray them on your body. So there is lots of different ways that you can be using those oils. But in a nighttime routine, a diffuser does make the difference. Next step is supporting your body physically, because we can calm the mind and send all the right signals. But if our body is still in pain or inflamed, it will stay in alert state. So something that we're forgetting about is pain actually blocks sleep. So we are then staying awake because our body is trying to protect itself. So even if you're feeling exhausted, your nervous system just will not switch off, because the body is in pain, inflammation, cortisol staying elevated. So the nervous system is then on edge all the time, and it won't let you drop into deep sleep. So you might well find that chronic health stuff like pain sufferers are waking every couple of hours. And this is why CP Plus comes in really well again. Working on those CB2 receptors, lowering that inflammation. Taking copaiba internally is going to also lower pain as well as help your body drop into sleep. But it directly lowers the cortisol levels, which is helping the nervous system regulation and getting that greater ability for the body to wind down into sleep. The other item is the deep blue rub. So if you have the fibro samples and you came to the fibro class, the deep blue rub is one that works on a physical level. This is your muscle and joint support. So anywhere that you're holding tension and you've got aches or tightness, maybe it's your back or maybe it's your legs, it can help improve the circulation. It reduces the physical discomfort inside your body, and it actually helps your body be able to relax for sleep. You can also use like a heat pad across your shoulders, or you can, like I said, you can use water to push it in even further. So you can wet a flannel and lay that on top if you've got extreme back pain or shoulder pain. You can force that oil in even more. But when you're combining all of these effects, then that's when we start seeing some magic. The other option you have is Serenity soft gels. So the Serenity soft gels actually start to support the nervous system deeper from inside. They're not just sleep capsules, but they're designed to work with your body's chemistry. So it's a blend of essential oils, and it also has compounds like L-theanine and plaque compounds. When you're doing this every day and you're regulating your body, that GABA pathway in your brain, which is your body's natural calming system, actually starts to calm down. So it reduces mental chatter, allows your body to move into rest and digest instead of trying to force sedation. It's actually helping your body to create a calm naturally. We're getting rid of the excess cortisol, and it then allows you to produce more melatonin. So the lovely thing is with Copaiba soft gels and Serenity soft gels, if you are somebody who really, really struggles to switch off, you can use both. It's an either or you can use both, and you can take 1 to 2. The wonderful thing is it works with your body, and you can pick and choose what is right for you. The other one I haven't spoke about is air, and that is because sleep isn't just about falling asleep. It's also making sure we're breathing well while we're asleep. So our airways can get restricted, nose can get blocked, and our breathing can be shallow. And that's going to keep you more in an alert state. You're not going to be able to fully drop into a deep restorative sleep. So air helps to open up the airways, helps you breathe in deeper, gets more oxygen into your body, and it's really important for the nervous system. Deep, steady breathing sends signals to the brain that you're safe, whereas shallow breathing keeps you in that stress response. This is one of the reasons we do deep, square breathing. We breathe in, we hold, we breathe out, we hold, because we're affecting the nervous system. So we want to be doing that while we're sleeping, which we can't make ourselves do. So we want our body to be deep breathing while we're sleeping. I love air. We have air in all of the bedrooms with a diffuser. Also, it can help with snoring as well. It's not a quick fix for snoring. It does depend what you're snoring, what your reason for snoring is, whether it's anatomy or a cough, cold, etc. But it can really help to assist with snoring as well, because it's getting deeper into the airways. Hopefully, if you've understood that sleep doesn't start when we're hitting our head on the pillow, it does begin during little cues throughout the day. So we can't go from bright lights, noise, phones, stimulation to getting into bed. If the body hasn't had time to shift, something has to happen earlier. So lowering the lights in the evening, having lamps, reducing blue light, having a diffuser on nice and early, rollers and spray bottles close around the house, or having Serenity sticks, letting your body get gradually into that transition. Also, the temperature of the room. Cooler rooms tend to support better sleep. Reducing noise wherever you can. One of the things I love to do if we're really struggling is binaural beats. So you can get those on YouTube or Spotify, etc. And they're worked on the frequency, and the frequency going inside, they have 2 different frequencies, and it's worked on the frequency between the frequencies. Really interesting binaural beats. You can have them for calming as well. You can have them for all different things, for focus. So have a look at binaural beats for sleep if it's something additional, if you're somebody that likes noise to sleep as well. But we don't want anything to be complicated. We just want really simple signals for the body to calm down. We want to be thinking about what we're using in the daytime, ensuring that we are looking after our nervous system from the moment we wake up, having rollers, having diffusers through our homes. Simple little changes can make a huge difference to our bedtime. So So the main thing I want you to take away is we're not fixing everything overnight. You have to let your body learn to feel safe again. And for many of us, we've been in this state for a long time. So we can't expect to just suddenly shift into a perfect night's sleep. But with consistency, not perfection, in those little small things that we do daily, oils, your routines, your signals, we can start to build safety in that body again. And we will get you walking across the bridge of success. So you might be thinking, do essential oils even work, especially for something like sleep? Well, honestly, it's a valid question, but I'm really hoping what I've explained covers that question. The next one is, what if it doesn't work for me? And if you've been dealing with this for a very long time, I can totally understand that. And this comes up quite a lot. But this is exactly why we don't just rely on one item, because sleep isn't one single issue. So we're going to support the body from all those different angles. And that's where combinations become really powerful. They give your body more ways to respond. So do I need more than one oil? No, you can absolutely pick and choose whichever area you want to start with. If you just want one oil, one product, we are not here as a pressure sales. We are not here to make you think that you have to have everything. You choose what's right for you. But just remember that one oil isn't going to support every single area that we've talked about. So we have to think about what the same oil can use in different aspects. And the more of these classes you come on, the more you will see that the same oils do different things. It's the same oils that we're using in loads of different areas. And that's what's fantastic about it. What if I become dependent on them or they stop working? Your body doesn't become dependent on essential oils. They're not forcing anything. They're working with your body. They're not overriding it. And they don't just stop working. Actually, the opposite happens. The more consistent you are, the more your body starts to respond. Remembering as well, every single plant, every single bottle has a different DNA because it is nature. When it's harvest, it's a different plant. So even though it's tea tree in your bottle, it has a different DNA. So unlike antibiotics and medicines, you cannot become resistant to them. Like we said, the biggest thing will happen is that actually more consistency, your body will start to respond better. There is something called aromatic anchoring that I can work with you on, and you can pick a specific oil and we can anchor it to a specific feeling of, if you are somebody that's really overwhelmed, we could anchor balance to a happy feeling, that every time your body smells balance, your body knows what response it's needed. It's very clever. The biggest one is, I'm not sure I'll know how to stick with them or how to use them. And this is important that you're not doing this alone, because it's not about handing oils over to you and us walking away. We guide you, we help you build simple routines, we give you the resources to learn, and we will empower you to go off and find the right solutions for you. So just to keep it really simple, there's loads of options, but because we've tried to just bring it in with certain things in here today, these are a few options for you. They are not something that you have to do. You can pick and choose individually, but these are just to get you the best value in one go. So for example, we have Balance, Lavender, Serenity, and the 2 sets of soft gels. They would cost £150. On there, you could have possible add-ons. You can add diffusers, rollers, carrier oil if you want to. We work with you on a bespoke level. Option 2 is slightly changed. So this one, you would buy Adaptive and Air instead of the Balance. Okay, so you would pay for Adaptive and Air, still have the soft gels. This time it gets you to $199. You still have the choices of the add-ons. On top of that, you get all of your education and you get us to support you. So you get your free starter pack and plans. That costs well over £50. You get all of your wellness consultations. So that's time one-on-one with us, where we will walk you through your specific healthcare, and we will do at least 3 months support plan. In reality, once you have us, you don't get rid of us. So that continues if you want us, that is. We do go away if you don't want us. You also have all of your online support. I have a multitude of videos and resources that are available for you. We have our Facebook groups, which are completely invaluable. And we also have ebooks. I also have neurodiversity courses and all of those things that also can be thrown in for you. I do work with each of you individually. So if you have seen something there today and you want to be top of our list and you say, yep, actually, I know what I want, you can say link and we will make sure we get you that today and we will sort that out for you. If you'd like more information, you can write the word chat into the chat. And we will also then put you down for a one-to-one and we will organise that time. But again, there is absolutely no pressure. These are just options that are available for you if you think, yes, I want to take that step forward. So I will end the recording here for those on the recorded version. So thank you for joining. And then we're going to go back to the room now and we will take any questions and we'll have a little look at the chat to see how everybody was.